Another retro collection of classic games is coming out this week. Thanks to NN Games, I've been able to get an early look at the Wonder Boy collection. In today's video, you'll find out what's included in that collection, as well as what I think about it, and of course my thoughts on if it's worth getting or not. Plus, I'll address the other collection that's coming out later this year. It's retro games time on the channel, so hang on, make sure to subscribe to the channel, let's dive into some classic old school games. So first things first, what is the Wonder Boy series? A lot of viewers watching this right now might already know, but just in case you don't, I'll get you up to speed. The Wonder Boy series is a series of games from Ruststone Bit Entertainment that have generally been published by Sega. Games in the series have been released in the arcades, on the Sega Master System, on the Genesis and Mega Drive consoles, but other games have been ported to a whole bunch of other consoles too. The games are generally platformer action RPGs with a Metroidvania style, but there are some definite exceptions to this, specifically the first game in the series, but more on that shortly. The Wonder Boy collection that's presented here is a collection of 4 games from the series. You got Wonder Boy in Monster Land, Wonder Boy in Monster World, and Monster World 4. Wonder Boy, the first game in the collection, is the arcade version. Remember how I said there's exception to that action RPG gameplay? Well, the first one is pretty much just an action platformer. This game might seem familiar to some gamers as Adventure Island, which actually Hudson Soft adapted this game for the NES, and that ended up spawning its own series of games. As far as the game itself goes, it's a fun and easy to understand arcade game that does get pretty challenging. I like it, even though things ended up being quite different for the series. This is still a good start to the collection as an origin point to see how things have progressed. The second game in the collection is another arcade port, Wonder Boy in Monster Land. This is the first game where the series takes on that action RPG style that the series is known for. At the time of its release, you really didn't see RPG mechanics show up in arcade games, so this really stood out compared to other arcade games in 1987. Generally speaking though, there are still levels unquote, with each one with a goal of beating a boss at the end of the level. It's a fun arcade game, again quite different, and it's pretty challenging too, but still nice to see this game in the collection. Things fast forward a bit as we skip to the 5th game in the series, with Wonder Boy in Monster World. The version included here is the Sega Mega Drive / Genesis version. At this point, the series is full on in its action RPG style, with Metroidvania elements. This is one of the better games on the 16-bit platform, and in this collection, this is where we get to the meaty part, as between this and the last game, you'll probably be spending most of your time playing. I mean, that makes sense though, since the first 2 were arcade games. Regardless, it's a fun game, I love it, and it's worth playing. The final game in the collection is Monster World 4, which is arguably one of the best Sega Mega Drive games ever made. It's an action RPG as well, fully evolved, a lot more fleshed out than the last game. We have a brand new protagonist, a bit of visual changes, but to sum it up, it is absolutely worth playing and really happy to see this part of the collection. It's arguably one of the best, if not the best in the series. Seriously, this is the highlight for sure, the creme de la creme of the collection. How is the collection in terms of emulation? It's actually quite good. The games itself play really well, as expected, and from what I can determine, there's no noticeable button lag. We got plenty of options at our disposal. Arcade games have plenty of difficulty settings. Controls are completely customizable, and in some instances, there's additional button options for shortcuts, which is great to see. There is also a full rewind and fast forward button options that you can use in every game. Speaking of the rewind feature, it's pretty extensive. I was able to rewind for like minutes at a time, easily. It's a great plus if you end up in the wrong direction and just need to go all the way back to where you came from. It's a nice shortcut. There's some video options for display, scaling options, and shaders that you can modify for a CRT effect. Also, for those that are wondering, the games shown in this video that are being played by myself are being played in the 1-to-1 or pixel perfect modes as that is what looks best to me. Ratalakia Games helped to work on this collection, and if you played their other retro ports, you'll see a lot of the same features. The only thing I wish this collection had was different background options or the ability to turn the wallpaper off. Finally, there's some save state options too, which is a blessing for the later games, as it gives you a chance to save at any point you please. Now, is it worth getting? If you really like this series, then yeah, it is worth getting. I love these games, especially the last two. They are fantastic games. If you're looking to play these games, this is a very nice way to experience these games, and the emulation is spot on. In terms of value though, for some, 4 games might not seem a lot when you compare it to other retro collections. This is especially apparent since there's another Wonder Boy collection that was announced at the same time, that being Wonder Boy Anniversary Collection. This collection features 6 different games in the series, presented across 21 different versions. Sadly though, if you're just now hearing about it, you won't be able to get it, as that collection is being done by Strictly Limited Games and was limited to 3,000 copies. The pre-orders for that is all sold out. So really, for most, your only option is to get this collection from NN Games. What I would love to see is some sort of DLC that would add Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap, and Wonder Boy 3 Monsters Lair to the collection. That would be great, as you'd be able to experience all 6 games. But as it stands, this is what we got. Again, if you like the series, these are great ports and great ways to experience them. If you like action RPGs or Metroidvanias, the last 2 are really going to interest you. I think you should definitely experience them, especially Monster World 4. That game is a borderline masterpiece. Just for some, you might be wanting a little bit more for that $30 price tag. Anyway, that's the details on the collection as well as my thoughts. Thank you to NN Games for letting me take an early look at this collection. I love the series. Longtime viewers, you guys know I have some love for this series, especially for Dragon's Trap, one of my favorite games of all time. Actually, before I go, I do have a couple of recommendations for you guys to check out. There's Wonder Boy The Dragon's Trap from Lizard Cube and .emu, which is a fantastic remake of the original game that lets you experience the 16-bit visuals too. I highly recommend checking that out. In addition, check out Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, the latest game in the series. That is fantastic as well. A great modern entry in the series. Both are available on the Switch as well as other platforms. Anyway, if you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're not yet a subscriber, then make sure to click on that subscribe button so you never miss out on any of the videos that go live on the channel. That's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.
Thank you.